Hey guys, watch this short video. This is what you have learned so far in MIT App Inventor. Okay, I posted this in the Google stream, the Google Classroom stream for all of you, and I bullet point everything. So the last time we met, we explored App Inventor. So you learned how to name your projects in camel case and underscore. Example is A1 underscore my first app. My first app is in camel case, capital M, capital F, capital A. That's camel case. You learn the difference between the design layer and the blocks layer. Okay, so here is the design layer where you actually design your app. Your blocks is where you're actually going to code your app. Okay, I'm gonna go back to designer mode. Okay, and go back to the bullet point. Your palette is where you have all the tools and the components that can be dragged to the viewer. Okay, so here's the palette, just like an artist has all his different colors that he can put onto his canvas. So if we consider this area, the phone screen, which is the viewer, if we consider that the canvas, and you, the creator, you have your palette, you can drag a button onto your canvas or a checkbox or an image. Okay, it goes to the viewer, and then you have what each component. So if I drag a button out and drag it here, then that button number one, I can click on button number one and then change its properties over here. Okay, so that was that. So the palette is where you have all the tools and the components that can be dragged into the viewer. Your viewer is where you visually design your app with your components. And then your components pane, which just showed you on MIT App Inventor. Your components are the text box, the buttons, the spinners, the image, all of that is there. And it's listed and displayed in a hierarchical structure, like a tree with various limbs and tiers. So let me go back here. Here are your components. So we're on screen one, and I have a welcome. If I click on there, and then I have a space, and if I keep adding and changing things, this should tier like a tree. Okay? And if I put something here, it will show up here on our component screen. Okay, let's go back here. There are also visible components. The button and the text box are visible. We can actually see them here. There are also some non-visible components, which on my app, I drug out a text-to-speech. And text-to-speech is going to be a non-visible. You cannot see it, but it is there and is added. It's a non-visible component, which it will be there, and I just have to code it to text-to-speech. Okay, so that's a non-visible. These are visible. This is non-visible. Okay, under your properties pane is where the app creator, you, can change the visual aesthetics of the app, the way it looks. Okay, it affects the way the component looks and sometimes how it behaves. But we also know that it behaves the way we code it, which is in our blocks editor. Which goes to blocks editor is where the creator codes the components to function. It's where the program or the components actually do something. Okay, so we're here. We're in designer mode, and then we code these buttons to do something. We have to code it here. This is how it functions. So here's the text-to-speech component. I coded it to say, congrats on making your first app. We are MV. So when I deploy the app, it should work with this code. In your blocks mode, where you're coding, where did I get these block codes? Well, if I go to my built-in, these are my drawers here. I have a control drawer, logic drawer, math drawer, text drawer. Okay, so if I look at my component that I have talk to me, which I added to my screen, I click on talk to me, it gives me the code that I need. Okay, so if I want when button clicked or when talk to me is clicked, then I'm going to drag out this block and I'm going to place it here. Then I'll need it to do something. So I'm going to call it to text to speech. So if I go to my procedures, because this is what it's supposed to do, I go to my, actually, sorry, it's not under procedures. Let me go back. It's under talk to me. If I scroll down, to text to speech, here it is. Sorry about that. That was my talk to me button. And then I go to my text to speech, which is that non-visible component that I showed you. If I click on that, I can call it text to speech 1, and I drag that out. And I'm going to drop it in here, which I don't need because I already have one. And then I need to go, well, what is it going to say? I'm going to go to my text and grab an empty speech bubble and place it there and connect it. And then I'm going to type what it needs to say. And then my code, my app should function. Blocks editor is where the creator codes the components to function. It's where the program components actually do something. So when I deploy the app, it should, when I hit the Talk to Me button, it should say, "Congrats on making your first app. We are MV." And it does. And we'll get to that in the next lesson. But I wanted to show you that quick video of what we've learned so far.